Hello. Okay, this is going to be a different sort of guide, more about prepping for bigger events than it will be um, about actual gameplay and playing the game. But I know there's a big regional coming this weekend. We've got more sort of each weekend going forward. So I just want to say sort of how I would prepare for it. Maybe you're new to TCGs, maybe you're not. I've done one on Store Champs, but this one's more for the regionals and everything. So yeah, we'll just sort of start with this one's. I'll go a bit further because yeah, we in regionals we're most likely going to travel, and that's going to require accommodation and things like that. I'd say getting a good place to sleep is actually quite important. Of course, sleep and eating is quite important for you. And something that I've noticed because I'm in Europe and I go to different countries which have different sort of foods and stuff like that. Because I'm English and I don't like to eat many any nice dynamic pieces of food. Just make sure that what you're eating as well is what your body likes. Um, I think they go pair and pair, and of course these are going to be long events. So make sure to keep if it's a 9 round event, and I'm finding a lot of these are skipping the lunch break. Um, just make sure of that. Make sure that you're not just getting lost in the game. You need to uh, sort of yeah, keep your body nourished. Need a good night's sleep. You need a lot of water as well, so bring a water bottle. I can be quite a fiend for that, and I will just end up drinking a lot of energy drinks instead. Um, but I pay for that in the later rounds when my body's cramping up from lack of water. So don't do what I do with that. But yeah, make sure this is. I'll work this point in as well. You're not like in the World Cup final, or you're not Usain Bolt running at the Olympics. But if this is important to you, and it is important to most of us, then it can be that in your head. You can treat it that way. You can take your best chances. I think there should be no one judging you for that. Of course, winning one of these things is just huge if you're in this hobby. So, if you need to treat it at that level, please do, and just yeah, make sure you don't hurt anyone when you do that, and make sure you don't shove anyone away. But yeah, if you need to sleep properly and do sort of routines as well, if you've got good luck routines or whatever, make sure you do that. Get up early, eat properly, make sure you're on top of all the rules for the game and sort of what the judges are expecting from you in terms of respect and everything like that. As I say, this is not. Store champs will be a step up for most players from playing at your local league, but then this will be even a step further. I would assume every game rules are respected at 100%. If someone's going to Medusa your Cogsworth, you're well within your right to say no, you can't take that play back if they're like, oh, do you mind if I just run that back? I didn't realise. No, you can say sorry. You've got to follow through with it and select another target, or we just play the Medusa on board. But yeah, I'd say well respect everything that's done. As well, if a player's playing too slow, a player's playing too fast, let them know. Of course, slow play can be a thing. It's kind of not really a thing in best of two. It doesn't particularly have too many merits, slow playing. But players can, of course, play fast. Not saying anyone's cheating in that sense, but they can try and overwhelm you with just the intensity. I've seen that quite a few times. And yeah, if you need to say, hey, do you mind slowing it down and just saying what you're doing, that's fine. I think that also comes in with the language barrier you get a lot in Europe. Players might just act quickly and swap to their native language when you don't understand it. And that's fine if you just want to say, hey, sorry, is it all right if we do this like that? I think you're well within your right. But yeah, when you go to these events, of course, like I say in my store champs thing, bring everything you need. So things to track lore. Um, some of the store champs like they'll let you use dice, not dice tracker, the lore tracker things. I'd say in here, they won't at all. It all has to be written down because it's part of their judging program and it's just part of how it's meant to be properly done. So yeah, bring paper. They will have it, but I think it's best to bring yourself, just to be safe. Of course, bring your deck, bring your um, uh, play mat and everything. I will mention bring a water bottle because these events are really expensive. And yeah, you need to keep hydrated throughout it. One other thing as well I'd mention when I go, this was more from when I used to play Pokemon. They got quite strict on sleeves and sleeving up your deck. This is just to stop anyone do card marking by mistake or by on purpose. Mainly by on purpose, but sometimes you can accidentally dent a card sleeve and then it looks like you've marked it. So yeah, what I do is sleeve your deck up brand new at the start of the regional. Give it a couple shuffles, give it a couple plays. Don't go intense with it, but just get that fresh card play off of it because sometimes the decks can slide, don't they, if they're not um, not been played into. And then what I used to do, and I don't really recommend this much, but I will say I've done it, is I would buy a pack of sleeves for the next day as well. Because 9 rounds with Dragon Shield, sometimes they just wear out for some reason, like they would break, and then you're going into a sort of more important section of the game, and they could have had a battering that other day, and you just need to refresh them. So yeah, I used to buy two, and then of course I'd use one if I never made day two, which I never really made day two, so I always ended up having two um, packets. As well, as mentioned, bringing all this stuff that's next to me, getting a good night's sleep, getting good food in you. Um, when you go into these events, I will mention that you could have got yourself into a bit of a meta bubble, and I do this a lot. It's like right now I'm so invested in the blue steel deck. I talk to people a lot about blue steel. I answer a lot of questions about blue steel. So in my head, I'm thinking everyone at this regional will be playing blue steel, and you have to sort of get yourself out of that. I brought green steel to the last one at Lille, and I did not. I played one RP and I played three purple steel. So the deck that I'd practiced and thought I could win the most against, I played one of, and the deck that I thought just probably wouldn't even turn up, I saw three of it, and I hadn't really practiced into that matchup because I just didn't think it was going to be there. So you can get yourself into a meta bubble. Variables as well are there. Like there could be a deck that's just not popular anymore. I'm going to say like Ruby Sapphire is not as popular anymore, but there's no reason why you couldn't face five in a row, or five over your 9 rounds. So keep in mind that when you pick your deck, sort of try and get out of your meta bubble or like the sort of what people are playing in your discords or in your testing groups and things like that, because that, yeah, it can just work against you in the end. And that's why I say with these things it's just best to pick the deck you're most comfortable on, because you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to play against. So it's just, yeah, a deck that you are comfortable on. You sort of know its ins and outs. You even know its bad matchups. You know its good matchups. You know how to navigate both of them. The one you have lots of reps on. I think it's quite hard to make a meta call right now. Of course, we can look at the data of past regionals and go Green Steel was incredibly popular, and we can go RP is always incredibly popular, and the other two, Ruby Sapphire and Blue Steel, they have a lot of popularity as well. But there's nothing to say that you're going to play a high amount of them. You can end up going the vice versa and being like, I'll bring Green Steel because there's going to be a lot of RP, and then you get a lot of RP. But yeah, if you're just picking up Green Steel to farm on RP players, I'd say that's not the best way to go. I'd say pick a deck that you're comfortable with, and bring it down to the event. Also, as well, make sure to bring your deck list. They will have pen and paper there. They did at Lille. But of course, registration sheet is an option you can do on Dreamborn. You can just print it out and bring it in. In my head, whenever I pick my deck as well, I'll just say this: I only bring the one deck. Only because I've had past events where it's like I'll bring an RP and a blue steel, and my entire travel there and the day before, after the final minute of handing in my deck list, I've swapped between those two deck options about 100 times, and it's just I don't think that's good mentally. I don't think you're actually preparing yourself for the event if you're just swapping between them loads. So yeah, I'd say just bring the deck you want to bring, and leave the other ones at home. That's my opinion on that. But yeah, and then going into it, you're going to do each round. Uh, Play as much as you can. Play it. Have fun, but it is going to be a very obtuse experience where both people have been playing at the best of their ability. Your earlier rounds of random pairing might be against players who are just there to have a bit more fun, and maybe they are just trying their chances and they just want to get the Dragonfire promo. But if you move up the tables, say you get quite a lot of 2-0 wins in a row and you get to that top 64 table section, the players will really be quite connected and quite turned on, and they will want to, try their best at winning the event. So keep in mind, yeah, how serious this can be. For some people, this can be the difference between big amounts of money and low amounts of money. This is important. As I mentioned, it's not the World Cup, but it is important to everyone taking part, and especially when you get to the higher tables, it can be. But yeah, if you win, of course, great. If you lose, try and not sit on a loss. And especially if the loss is harsh. Say if the reason you lost is like they top decked a goat and they only had one goat left in deck. Try and not sit on that and let that stew in you. I think the best thing to do is to do these things with groups of friends. And if you haven't managed to find many Lorcana friends, like um, chat in the Discords and stuff like that. There's like in 20 Law, there's loads of people um, that would love to, I think, yeah, meet up and be friends at these events. If you're looking for friends, there's usually someone else looking for friends. Is how I see it. I'm always happy to chat. I find most of the content creators that you might watch their videos, they're usually open to chat. They'll love the you approaching them. I think I'm not saying that for everyone. I think I would, and I know quite a lot that would. But yeah, if you recognize someone from Twitch or YouTube, you can say hi and maybe tell them about how good your game was or how bad your game was, and I'm pretty sure they'd appreciate it. But yeah, I think doing these things with friends is great, and of course, if they're having a bad game, they can bounce off you. I think it's sometimes just good. I've had games where it's like, especially at Lille, where I got two 2-0s from the Purple Steels, and it was like this really bad matchup. I hadn't really thought about much. I just needed to sort of get it out there. I needed to go and talk to someone and say, this really sucked, and like instead of just carrying it into the next game and just being really mopey and carrying that energy, to just get it out of you. Yeah, try not to get too overexcited as well if you're winning. Remember, it's for the long haul. I've had many events as well where it's like I just need to win one more, and I not for regional, sorry, just in general for like winner boxes and stuff. I just need to win one more round, and I've made cut. Of course, just keep it in the moment. Just think, right, I'm playing my next round. What are they going to play? Think about your mulligan. Don't be thinking about the winning prize that you're dreaming up in your head so far. Think, right, so what? Yeah, sit in your game mode strategy. Keep it always one game ahead of you, or keep it in the moment. Sorry. Yeah, but yeah, besides that, I think dropping wise as well, I just mentioned it's kind of hard to predict in a best of three. In other events, it's like if you lose two, if you lose three, you're out. I think even here, if you get 2-0, you just basically don't want to ever get 2-0. You always want to get 1-1s. But if you get 2-0 two or three times, I think that's where you can sort of be like, I don't want to do this and go do a side event. Of course, you can play the games that you want. If you just want the gameplay, that's fine. But some people, you just don't want to go through that grueling 9 rounds and you didn't have a chance at getting anything. Um, I'd say dropping is fine, but also remember there's the Let It Go promo. So even if you don't make cut, there's another bracket of 125, I think it is, where you can get a promo card that's also quite important and quite nice. You might just want to see where you finish. So, but yeah, if you're one of those players that are only there for the cut, I think it's around two or three 2-0s. If someone in the comments can correct me, that'll be good as well, and I'll highlight that comment. But yeah, besides that, yeah, be respectful, enjoy it. It is a great experience as well. Yeah, take it as seriously as you need to try and win, but don't ruin anyone else's fun and don't make it hard for anyone else to enjoy the experience. But yeah, so there's a few tips in there.